Welcome to Retreat Tales, the ZenBooking podcast, where we travel without moving whilst getting deep into conversation with retreat hosts and organisers from all around the world. Today we're going to Bulgaria. Now, for some people, the beauty, the culture and the incredible thermal mineral pools of Bulgaria are no secret. But for many others, it might not be the first place you think of when considering where to go on a retreat. Well, if that's you, you are about to be both enlightened and inspired. Elena Kemileva is the leader of an 8-day yoga, hiking and spa retreat taking place in the Bulgarian mountains on various dates throughout the year. And she joins me now. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
So there are loads of questions I want to ask you about Bulgaria, about its thermal springs, and of course about the retreat. But first, I have a rapid fire round of questions for you so we can get to know you a little bit. Are you ready?
Sure, let's do it. Yes.
So first, what's your morning ritual?
A short breathing practice and meditation.
Tea or coffee?
Tea, definitely, not coffee.
Yoga or hiking?
Hiking after yoga.
Both. Your favourite healthy snack?
A smoothie. Nice, fresh smoothie.
And can you describe the retreat in 3 words?
Beautiful. Rich in experience. These are 2 words, but still. And I would say practical.
Okay,
so
that's
that
an
is to
interesting
build
one.
healthy habits which are used in practice.
Excellent. Okay, I think lots of us could use a little bit of help with that. So we'll come to the retreat in a few minutes, but I mentioned in my introduction that for a lot of people, perhaps more so those of us in the West, Bulgaria might not immediately come to mind when we think of retreats or even just holidays, standard holidays. Can you just tell us a little bit about the country, you know, the landscape, the culture, the people?
Yeah, it's commonly actually underestimated, but Bulgaria is a little treasure, I would say. It's not a big country, but it's very rich in nature. The seaside is amazing. We have a lot of mountains. We have amazing foods. Still very healthy organic fruits and vegetables that are not easy to find anymore in many places of the world. And the people are friendly. And it's really a lot to do here. We have very rich history.
I was going to say the country has a very rich history and quite a turbulent political history. How has the country changed and opened up to tourism in the last few decades?
Yes, history and politics, it's still, history has been turbulent. Politics is still very turbulent. We have still a lot of economical and political issues we have to work on, but generally, since the breakdown of the Soviet Union, as we were kind of very related to it, and at the beginning of democracy in the 90s, and especially since after we are a part of the European Union, things are really kind of getting more open, and it's much easier for foreigners now to be here. The infrastructure is improving regarding everything, places to stay and facilities and even road infrastructure, transportation. People are getting more open-minded and more open. They know more, foreign languages. It's easier to communicate, and we are definitely now quite renowned touristic place in Europe. Many people come here either to the seaside or for mountain tourism.
And I think, as you said, the mountains draw tourists, and possibly because of these thermal mineral spas, which sound incredible. Can you tell us a little bit about those? Because I think you are from this region where there are lots of thermal mineral
Yes, I
spas.
live in a small village. It's called Bansko. This is where we organize the retreats as well. It's famous for actually it's winter resorts. It's one of the hottest, I would say, like ski destinations nowadays. So we have, besides the beautiful mountains, the villages surrounded or the nearby villages have these amazing thermal water springs. So there are different complexes and like facilities built in quite nice ones, I would say. So it's an amazing way to combine some sports and relaxation practices. And all these thermal waters, they're renowned with their healthy properties. And in general, Bulgaria has been very famous for this type of like a spa tourism, because it's not only Bansko, there are many places rich in mineral waters
Yeah, I
that are good
understand
for
it.
treating different health issues.
I understand it comes second in Europe for thermal mineral spas after Iceland. I had no idea that Bulgaria was so full of these thermal mineral spas. Growing up must have been great fun going to explore with your friends and finding these natural spas.
Yes, yes, and we were very lucky as kids. We had the chance to live this like really natural life and run, in the streets and go to the mountains, go skiing every weekend or just hiking. And um, I used to spend like the whole summer holidays at the seaside as well, which was really nice. So Bulgaria is really small, but it's very rich, like I said, in nature. Well, sometimes we're joking with my friends that it's one of the very little places in the world where you can basically surf and ski. It's like the same day or the second sequence days. Greece is very nearby as well, so it's our seaside, and also the Greek seaside is really nearby.
And what's the weather
So
like in
definitely.
Bulgaria? What's the weather like in Bulgaria? Do you have a sort
The
of,
weather everywhere is changing now. Like,
yeah.
but we used to have really, how to say, like normal winters, 4 seasons, like cold
Mhm.
winter, hot summer. But nowadays things are going to kind of 2 seasons. So it's
Yeah.
from winter we switch straight to summer and opposite. So the autumn and the spring tend to be quite warm. The winters are kind of getting late, so we have less snow and more rain, respectively. But the weather generally, it's well, depends what you're used to, of course. But in general, it's really nice. We have many sunny days. I read somewhere like 270 sunny days per year, and the cold and the winter days are really sometimes really beautiful because it's cold, but it's this kind of dry cold. It's not so humid. We don't get a lot of rain,
Mhm.
so it's lovely, I would say.
Let's just
And
stay outside for the moment. So I want to talk about the yoga and the spa facilities. Just before that, tell me about some of the hiking trails that you take guests on the retreat on, because I know that you go exploring in the mountains. Do you take them to the hot spas, the thermal springs?
oh yes, we do. There's really well, depends on the retreat. Sometimes the facilities therein have mineral pools. Sometimes we just go separately. Usually we start, well, depends also very much on the level of the group. So we try to um, choose such places that are convenient and up to the level of physical level of abilities of all our guests. Sometimes we have to separate the groups, but usually we do mountain hikes. There are quite high peaks around Bansko, and the highest one is 3,000 meters, and it's usually the hikes that take between 1 and up to 4 hours sometimes. So this really depends on the skills of our guests. And there are amazing mountain lakes. So we usually combine some hikes to some lakes. So if the weather doesn't allow us, we stick to the lower parts of the mountains. They're really beautiful forests, trails, and just less challenging places. It's interesting that here, just nearby Bansko, is the oldest tree in Europe. It's over 1,300 years old. So
Wow.
that's something nice to see. And in Bulgaria in general, we have a lot of mountains. Most of our hikes are in the area of Bansko and Virin Mountain. But we sometimes go to the real lakes. It's a very famous place. There are 7 lakes, mountain lakes there, and it's very renowned for it's like a spiritual place. I don't know if you have ever heard of him, but there is they're famous as the Land of White Brotherhood. There was the spiritual teacher, Benin Saduro, who has followers basically all over the world, and they make their yearly gatherings there. So it's renowned as a very spiritual place, and many people visit it. And it's really beautiful, so we kind of kick it in the program.
This brings us nicely, I think, to the yoga side of this retreat. Where does that happen? Do you keep that within the accommodation facilities, or do you go outside and practice outside in nature?
Depends on the weather conditions. So we have indoor facilities as well, so it's possible to practice in a yoga room indoors, or sometimes we do the morning yoga outside. And we try to incorporate also some yoga practices in our hike. So sometimes when we hike, we sit for a short meditation, or just a few breathing exercises, or things like that. So it's different, but we try to be indoors and outdoors.
And you bring the yoga. And you bring the yoga into all the different parts of the retreat experience.
Yes. We try to.
In terms of the physical side, the asana, the yoga asana, is there a particular style that you're teaching? Is it standard Hatha yoga? Is it vinyasa flow? Or how do you teach your yoga classes?
A little bit of all or both. I have practiced in the last 20 years all kinds of yoga, mostly Hatha. I've always been more focused on traditional Hatha yoga, but I also do Ashtanga. I do a little bit of yoga flow. I'm also a physiotherapist, so I have always kind of used yoga and have been trying to apply it in my also physio practice, because yoga gives us the tools for living more like a balanced lifestyle, regarding this balance between load and loadability and rest and physical activity and nutrition and all this stuff. That our job as physiotherapists is also to kind of refresh this balance into people's lives. So but mostly in our retreats, we do traditional Hatha yoga, or with a little bit of vinyasa flow, I would say. But like
If
I
there's
said, also
somebody
depends on the level of our guests.
if there's somebody watching this and maybe they haven't done any yoga or just a little bit, would this retreat still be suitable for them?
Oh yes, yes. We really want our retreat to be accessible for everyone, and even if our guests are with different skills and levels, we always adjust to everyone. So we have introductory lectures. I always explain what we're doing, where we're doing it. That's also mainly because of my a little bit like physio approach. I want people to understand what they're doing, so not really learn things by heart. And then when they understand it, they have the skills to adapt it and to adjust to their own needs. And this is what I want to teach them. And it's not something they just, memorize and copy. And it's yoga, it should be flexible as our life is. And sometimes we are very busy, you know, mentally or physically. And sometimes we need more to relax physically and or just just maintain the balance.
Yeah.
So
So actually, you're teaching in a way where people can have an experience during the retreat, but they also have something that they can take home with them to maintain this balance and
yes,
healthy
yes.
living.
My idea incorporating all these things that have always been part of my life, like the outdoor sports, nature, being close to nature, healthy foods, being active, yoga as a tool to balance our, thoughts and, physical also skills and physiotherapy as a prevention. So I'm in these retreats, I just want to incorporate everything and just give them this glimpse of a healthy, balanced lifestyle. So people kind of, and I try not to make it like too complicated. So whenever they go home, I want them to just stick with these practices, at least part of them, because sometimes we don't have the time to do all of that. But like I said, just make them a habit, these healthy practices. Either start the day with a little bit of yoga, you have to do your physical work. You need to do something to, for the monkey in your in your head as well.
Can I ask, how did you discover yoga? How have you come into this?
Oh, that's interesting. So I started now, yeah, almost 20 years now. I was 19 years old. I had this horrible sports injury. I've been competing professionally in like snowboarding, so I broke my neck and I had a long recovery. So this is when I just started reading about yoga, just by through. I was like, why not? Let's try. And it had a tremendously benefit for my recovery, and it just became my absolutely must do thing. This is how I was starting every day, because it just kept me going and I felt so well from it. And then to yes, gradually turned to a profession as well, and I started teaching, and this is how everything
Yeah.
started.
So you are a living, breathing example of the power of yoga, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
It just completely changed my life, I would say, and it was just for good. Exactly, building up this healthy, balanced habits.
Okay, maybe we can then start now to look at what else is available on this retreat for people who attend. So the accommodation itself, this looks like quite an amazing hotel. There's a really big range of facilities available with outdoor pools and indoor facilities. Can you talk a little bit more about what they'll find at this hotel?
Oh yes. Well, we choose different facilities. When we started our retreats, we had a like a chalet, our own house. gradually with time, concepts change, depends on the, time and the number of people that are coming. But in general, in Baisko and in the nearby villages, there is a huge variety of amazing places to stay. And so there are the facilities in the hotel. They have like all the fitness rooms and yoga rooms and nice gardens and swimming pools and a lot to do really. And we have also optional activities that our guests do outside the resort. So this could be horse riding and climbing and some dancing classes and painting and everything actually. Tennis and just forest walks for wild berries and yes, there is a lot of variation.
And what about the food? Because obviously, if food is quite a big part of a healthy lifestyle, and you talked at the beginning a little bit about the food that's available in Bulgaria. What sort of meals would people have on this retreat?
In our retreats, we stick to mostly local and organic foods. Depends. We have people can choose depending on if they're vegan or vegetarian. We can provide some meat options, but we try to stick to the vegan or vegetarian meals. We're focused because it's summer now, so it's quite hot. So we try to stick with really fresh things, fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, nice salads, all kinds of legumes. Yeah, is this the word? Yeah.
Yeah, legumes and beans and pulses. Yeah. And you
Yes,
said that
yeah.
organic food is quite readily available in Bulgaria. Is that because there hasn't been as much, what's the word I want to use? There hasn't been as much sort of production and industrialization of the food growing process in Bulgaria, and the land is maybe less
Unfortunately,
contaminated?
nowadays there is a lot of industrialization, like everywhere else in Europe as well. Unfortunately, we are getting lots of imports as well from heavily food chains are here. So, but still, because there are lots of small farms and like small producers and really nice farmers markets, and still the prices are really good compared to because we still have a lot of these things, so they're not so expensive nowadays as it is in Western Europe.
Yeah.
So still
And
there are options to find nice food.
And actually, I find that in general, this retreat feels very affordable considering what's available to people who come on this retreat. It's set at a very quite an affordable price, and also getting there is quite cheap. I had a quick look because I think you are near, is it Sofia Airport? And there's another one as well that people use, and a free airport transport to get to the hotel. And there are low cost flights from all over Europe that come to this part of Bulgaria. So I think it's a good package, isn't it, for a good price?
We're trying to make it accessible, and yes, we want to take care of everything. So really, people, we just take them from the airport, and they have their full experience, and they don't need to think of anything. They're just enjoying that time here. And we try to stick to this good balance of quality and price.
It sounds really, really incredible with so much on offer, and in a stunning part of Bulgaria as well. It's certainly made me want to visit. I hadn't thought of Bulgaria before as a place I might go to, but it sounds
Always
great.
welcome.
You've really sold it to me. So thank you very, very much for joining me on the ZenBooking podcast to tell us all about it, Elena. And
thank you very much.
If you're watching or listening to this podcast and want to book a place on the retreat, you can find it by searching for retreats in Bulgaria on the ZenBooking platform, or you can get there in one click using the link in the description below, which I'll add later. And if this is your first time watching Retreat Tales, the ZenBooking podcast, don't forget to subscribe for a regular dose of inspiring conversation. Thanks again. Bye-bye.